In the autumn of 1900, a group of Greek sponge divers sheltering from a storm near the small island of Antikythera slipped beneath the surface to explore a shipwreck resting on the seafloor. What they pulled from the deep would confound the greatest minds of the 20th century, an object so sophisticated, so impossibly advanced for its time, that scholars would spend decades simply trying to understand what they were looking at. A bronze mechanism, corroded and fractured into dozens of fragments, containing more than 30 interlocking gears of extraordinary precision. A device that could calculate the movements of the sun and moon, predict eclipses, and track the cycles of the Olympic Games all 2,000 years before anything of comparable mechanical complexity would appear again in human history. How did such a thing exist? And more troublingly, how did its secrets vanish so completely that the world had to wait 2 millennia to rediscover them? If this kind of journey through forgotten history moves you, consider subscribing so you never miss another step into the ancient world. The Antikythera mechanism, as it came to be known, is perhaps the most dramatic symbol of something that has haunted archaeologists and historians for generations. The unsettling reality that knowledge once gained is not permanent. It can be lost. Catastrophically, completely, and sometimes without a single trace. The ancient world was not a slow, stumbling march toward enlightenment. It was, in many ways, a high-water mark, a tide that rose to breathtaking heights and then receded, leaving only ruins and riddles behind. The mechanism itself was likely built somewhere between 150 and 100 BCE, possibly on the island of Rhodes, a center of astronomical learning in the Hellenistic world. Researchers using modern imaging technology have revealed inscriptions on its fragments describing planetary motions with a level of accuracy that implies generations of careful observation and mathematical refinement. It was not the product of a single genius working in isolation. It was the fruit of an entire tradition. And when that tradition collapsed under the weight of Roman conquest, political upheaval, and the slow erosion of institutional knowledge, the mechanism's secrets went with it. This is the pattern that repeats itself across the ancient world with haunting consistency. Not sudden invention, but gradual mastery, followed by silence. Walk through Rome today, and you will stand in the shadow of structures that have endured for nearly 2,000 years. The Pantheon, the aqueducts, harbor breakwaters still partially submerged beneath the Mediterranean, stubbornly intact after 2 millennia of wave and tide. Modern engineers studying Roman concrete discovered something extraordinary and deeply humbling. The Romans had developed a form of marine concrete, a mixture involving volcanic ash called pozzolana, seawater, and lime, that did not merely resist the ocean, it grew stronger within it. As seawater percolated through the material over centuries, rare mineral crystals formed within the microscopic gaps, reinforcing the concrete from the inside out. It was, in effect, a material that healed itself. The precise proportions, the curing methods, the specific regional knowledge required to replicate it. These dissolved gradually as the empire fractured, and the craftsmen who carried that knowledge aged and died without successors trained to replace them. The formula was not hidden, it was simply forgotten. If you find yourself pausing in disbelief, you are not alone. Drop a thought in the comments. We would love to know which of these lost technologies astonishes you most. Halfway across the ancient world In the workshops of medieval Damascus, smiths were producing a steel so remarkable it entered the realm of legend. Blades forged from what we now call Damascus steel were said to hold an edge sharp enough to split a falling thread of silk, yet flexible enough to bend without breaking. Crusaders who encountered these weapons returned to Europe with stories that were barely believed. The characteristic flowing water-like patterns rippling across the surface of each blade were not decorative. They were the visible signature of a microstructure unlike anything produced in the West, likely derived from iron ore originating in specific mines in India and Sri Lanka. The precise smelting process, the temperatures, the carbon distribution within the steel, these were the secrets of a small community of master craftsmen who passed their knowledge through personal apprenticeship rather than written record. When those supply chains broke, when those specific ore sources became unavailable, when the last masters died without